Hi everyone, welcome to ACMW's Figma workshop. Hope your projects are going well. My name is Stella and I'll be going through just a couple things in Figma that might help you get started with getting introduced to the platform. This will take around like 20 to 30 minutes, and it'll just be like a really quick introduction to help you get started. And you can look at like more tutorials on YouTube for a specific tutorials, but this is just like a quick introduction of what Figma is. So what is Figma? Figma is a design tool that you can use to make like web design, mobile app design. Like you can see on the right, this is like an example of a mobile app design on Figma. And you can also use Figma, the design tool, for graphic design as well. So yeah, it's very multi-purpose and it's also cloud-based, so multiple people can be on the same Figma design at the same time. Yeah, so that's what Figma is. If you're a developer, you should care about design because it's important to have a plan before coding. Um, it's hard to code with just HTML, CSS at first, and using Figma will just help you have a smoother handoff from designers to devs and create nice user-friendly applications. So when you're planning to use Figma, before you might want to know like what your product is, what problem you're trying to solve for your users, like what's the goal, what's the story of your product. An example is like creating an interactive educational game for students and some ways or some things that you might want to include for like this example product would be like learning the importance of a certain topic through like easy analogy visualization, which you can think about how to make in your Figma design. So this is like a example of a less accessible website. As you can see here, it's very cluttered. There's a lot of things here, right? And there's a lot of text. So this is an example of something that we might want to avoid when we're designing. So let's look at an example where it's more accessible. So this is an example of an Airbnb like website. So this is a lot less cluttered. They have like different cards for images an instead of having like a list view of all like the different pieces of information. So it's like less cluttered, more easy on the eyes, and more intuitive. Um, and yeah, so these are some layouts for card. As you can see here, cards is like what Airbnb used, but these are some other layouts you can think about before you're designing. Um, let's jump right into Figma's features. This will be like a quick overview. So this is what your page is going to look like when you enter, minus the designs. So on your left side of the page, you can see the layers panel. And we'll get more into what each of these panels are later on, but basically this is where you see like a list of everything that's on here on each of your designs, like all the layers. If you have multiple things stacked on top of each other, like text to image and stuff like that. And then at the bottom, you'll see like menu bar down here near the blue arrow, and that's where you're going to be able to make like new frames, meaning like blank or like blank screens for you to design on, shapes, of course, to add to your frames, and text as well as like a pen tool to create your own shapes, and like a drag like blue arrow tool as well. Um, and options panel on the right side. So that's where you're gonna see like different properties of your design. So like font size, like color change if you want to change the color of like an image or like a shape, you can do that here. If you want to change opacity of the shape, you can do that here. So yeah, that's what the options is. Options is like properties, layers is like just a list of everything on the page, and the menu is like um what you can use to like add new things to the page. Um, yeah. So if we have all of that down, of course you can like look up tutorials later, but this is just overview. We'll go a little bit into what each panel is. So a layers panel allows you to see layers of each frame, of course. And you can also see like different assets from components as well. Components are more like um, reusable like parts of your design, and it'll be differentiated by like a purple color later on we can see. And the options panel, so this is layers on their left side, options is on the right. Options panel is where you can see the properties of each object, like the position, size, colors, and you can also switch to prototype mode as well. And yeah, so real quick, frames are made in the menu bar down here at the bottom of the Figma page, but you can also click F or press F to go to the frame section so that you can add a new frame. But it's used to create pages for your application. And if you click on this frame icon, which looks like a hashtag down here, you'll be able to see this like thing pop up where you can see different frame types. So like you can do MacBook Air, MacBook Pro 14, MacBook Pro 16 for desktop, for your web applications. Those would be like the blank pages for your design on, depending on what screens you have, what you want, what screen you want. And then we also have like phone and tablet if you're going for more like mobile as well. So yeah, and you can also create your custom size frames as well. But this is just an example of what you can do with frames. And then components, like we briefly covered, are just like reusable, consistent designs. Those could be like buttons, nav bars, like same things that appear on something that appears on your pages like repeatedly. And components have an icon with 4 small purple diamonds, as you can see here on the right. And you can create a component by using Control Alt or Option plus K to create a component. So yeah, this is another way to make it. And the real quick instances and variants are, well, instance is a copy of a component. So this is a component like the purple, um, uh, it could be like a nav bar or a button, but if you want to create a copy of that so that you can put it on your other designs, you can create an instance. So that's just a copy of that. And the main component is the parents and instance. You can see it as like a child. If you change something on the main component, which is like the purple, like what we just discussed here, um, then you'll be able to see those changes reflected in your instance. So if you copied something like a component over to another page, if you make changes in your previous page, those changes will be reflected in your in the page you copied it into. And then you can use alt drag on a component to make an instance. And go to main component and add variant to create a variant as well. So yeah, this is what it would look like on the right for instances and variant. And a little bit about auto layout. Auto layout just allows you to ensure your items have even spacing between them. You can apply to components and frames. So for just as a quick tip, you can use on text to create things like buttons, and you can do Shift A to set auto layout, or you can double click and then find this in the menu and then add auto layout. And yeah, so a little bit about layers and groups. Each frame, shape, etc. you create, it creates a new layer, and you can choose which ordering of layers and affect what is shown first. So several layers together can create a group. So if you group a bunch of like text images together, they won't move around. You can just click on, you can group them together so you can drag all of them around at once or move them around at once. And you can do Control G to group elements together. And a bit about exporting, of course. If you want to export your designs into like a PNG or PDF, you can preview it to make sure to preview it when you're exporting, to make sure you're downloading the right thing. And yeah, you can do it by looking on the options bar at the way bottom. You'll see like an export option. This is just like a quick overview. So if you have trouble, I suggest like Google searching it as well. But yeah, that finishes their quick presentation about little aspects of Figma, and we'll go into demo. Thank you for listening.